When she came out, she looked so good. But I started to get conscious of what I was wearing for me. I was like, yo, I'm feeling underdressed right now. I need some shoes. Greetings, my name is Maurice, aka DJ Croc from One Nation Experience. And at the weekend, I had the pleasure of attending the live show by Ego LMA, which took place at Islington Assembly Hall, which is a nice venue. It's quite an intimate space, not as intimate as the Jazz Cafe and not as big as, say, an O2 Academy, somewhere in between, but maybe a little bit more on the intimate side. But a nice venue. When I got there, I was unfortunately greeted by one of my pet hates, which is there was no DJ. They had a playlist on. Ordinarily, this is more of an issue when I'm going to a hip hop show or a reggae show or something of that nature, where I'm expecting high energy, that kind of vibe. For a show like this, the music that was going to be on display was more down tempo, downbeat, soulful vibes. So perhaps a DJ was not as important at a show like this. However, if artists or venues are going to do this and have a playlist running before a live show, I really wish they would utilize a crossfader feature or something like that would eliminate the gaps in between the songs. I really hate it when these playlists play the song from start to finish and then silence in between the track, and then song start to finish and then silence in between the tracks. I hate that when you have that silence and you're just listening to everybody talking in the room. So artists, venues, please, if you're gonna have a playlist at the beginning of the live show, please at least just have the crossfader feature on or some kind of fade feature and eliminate those gaps in between the songs. Please and thanks. The stage was dressed really nice with these table lamps all over it, which I thought looked really cool. Never seen anything like that before, but I thought it looked cool and was fitting for the energy of this type of show. Attendance was good. Downstairs of the Assembly Hall was full, front to back, left to right. Upstairs wasn't used, the balcony wasn't used, but downstairs was full. There were some issues with sound. I was stood at the side of the stage and there was no front fill speakers serving that section of the room. Same on the opposite side of the stage. There were front fill speakers in the middle of the stage, so everyone who was stood in the middle of the stage, they had front fill speakers serving them. So they were cool. And all the people at the back, they were cool. There were line arrays that were quite high up. So they would be serving everybody who was further back in the venue. And if the balcony, upstairs balcony was being used, those line arrays would have been serving them. But everybody who was on the ground floor at either the left or the right side of the stage, we had no front fill speakers serving us, which meant that there was a big gap in our sound spectrum, which wasn't cool and really shouldn't have happened, because that's such an easy fix for the venue. Just get a couple of front fill speakers left and right of the stage. Simple. That didn't happen, unfortunately. So we did have this gap in our sound spectrum, particularly in the mid section and the tops section. We had subs there, but no front fills for the mids and the tops, which was unfortunate. I could also hear the engineer wrestling with Ego's mic at various times throughout the show, trying to get her level up, but keeping her out of the feedback zone. And I have some sympathy with the engineer, because Ego LMA's voice, as beautiful and distinct as it is quite a gentle voice. And so I can understand an engineer trying to get her level up, but the more you get the level up is the more you run the risk of getting into feedback. That said to me that those microphones weren't wrung out properly before the show started. What do I mean by they weren't wrung out properly? Ringing out a microphone is a name given to a process of getting rid of feedback in a microphone. If you imagine a wet cloth, a really wet cloth, and you wring it out, you wring all the water out, you're wringing out all the excess water so that it doesn't drip. With a microphone, what you're essentially doing is wringing out all of the frequencies, or eliminating all of the frequencies that cause feedback in that microphone, so you can push the levels up without getting any feedback. So the fact that this was kind of happening said to me that that microphone hadn't been wrung out, which again is a failing of the technical staff or the sound engineering staff, or somebody should have made sure that was done before the show started. We had support for this show in the form of Essence Martins, which was a new name to me. She was great. She brought this kind of organic, acoustic, soulful vibe. That seemed to be her energy. She had a wonderful energy about her anyway, her and her band. And when she was doing her thing, she reminded me of Corinne Bailey Rae. And I thought this girl can go really, really far in this lane, you know. So I'm going to be watching out for Essence Martins to see how far she does go with this. She did a really great set, and I felt that she was a great fit for this show, and that she did a really good job of setting the mood for this show before Ego LMA and her band touched the stage. So Essence Martins was a great choice, great fit, and she did a great set. I'll definitely be keeping my eye on her going forward. In terms of Ego LMA and her band, the band were great. They were really, really good. They did a little intro piece, and then out came Ego LMA wearing this stunning white dress. She looked absolutely amazing in this white dress. In fact, when she came out, she looked so good. For a moment, I felt like I've been transported from Islington Assembly Hall to the Royal Festival Hall. I started to get conscious of what I was wearing from me. I was like, yo, I'm feeling underdressed right now. I need some shoes. She looked amazing, absolutely stunning, and just went straight into performing her tracks. Now, she mainly did tracks from the Field Notes album and from her new or current album, Good Intentions. She mainly did tracks from these two albums. She did do some tracks that predated those albums from the Honey for Wounds album, which is a reissue, but it was mainly tracks from Field Notes and Good Intentions. If you're familiar with those albums, then you know what it was about. She has this thing where she likes to give an introduction to the track before she performs it. She doesn't just go from one track straight into the next, or just say this track is cool, whatever, enjoy it. She gives a bit of background and a bit of context, and I love the way she does that. So it would be like, you know, I wrote this song when I was going through such and such an experience in my life, or I wrote this song and it's about this situation, or whatever it is. But I like the fact that she does that and she gives that context, because to me, even though her music and the messaging in the music is quite deep and impactful already, it makes it even more impactful when she gives that context to the tracks before she performs them. And she does the same thing on her listening parties. When she does these listening parties on Bandcamp, she does the same thing. So she'll be in the chat section with everybody at the listening party doing the same thing, introducing the tracks before we hear them. So I love the fact that she does that and gives that context, because I think it just makes the lyrics and the tunes land a bit better. I love the fact that at the end of the show as well, all of her music was available on various formats, including vinyl. So, you know, I had the first two albums, or I had not the first two. I had the Good Intentions and the Field Notes album on vinyl already. This was the one I didn't have, this Honey for Wounds, which apparently is a reissue. So I was able to pick this one up and complete the trilogy of my Ego LMA albums. All of them are bookfold albums, which I absolutely love as well. So yeah, love that. So I love and I'm loving going to these live shows and picking up all of this music on vinyl. I'm really loving that right now. One complaint really about the show, despite the issues with the sound, and that is it wasn't long enough. Not to say that it was short, it was a short show, but the time just flew by so quickly. And also because when I listen to these albums, I don't listen to individual tracks. I listen to the whole album. And so that's how I experience these albums. It's the whole album from start to finish. So when she's performing these tracks, I want to hear the whole albums, start to finish. Overall, it was a fantastic show. I really, really enjoyed this show, and I was singing and dancing away and had a wonderful time. And this album in particular, Good Intention, I mean, I've rinsed this album to death. I really have. Now I'm rinsing this album, her new album, Good Intentions. This is one of the albums that I'm listening to the most right about now, especially when I'm at home working, I'm in my studio doing my thing. Good Intentions is the album that I have on a lot right now. So it was wonderful to go and hear these tracks performed live. All in all, I'd give this show an 8 out of 10. Wonderful performances by the artists and the bands, but because of the issues with the sound and especially the setup of the sound, I came away feeling like I'd had an incomplete experience of this show and the music. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about good quality sound and good sound system setups, because it does impact on your overall experience of any event where there's music. Ego LMA still continues to be our, when I say our, I mean the UK's, she still, in my eyes, continues to be our Erykah. I don't mean that she sounds anything like Erykah Badu, because she does not. What I mean is, when you think of Erykah, when I think of Erykah, I think of her very unique and distinct voice. You hear Erykah's voice, you know it straight away that it's her. Likewise with Ego LMA, she has a very unique and distinct voice. Also like Erykah's vibe is very soulful, but it's very deep and meaningful. Likewise with Ego LMA. Very soulful vibe, but very deep and meaningful message and lyrics. It's not throwaway music. It's not here today, gone tomorrow type of music. It's not popularist music. It's music with substance. It's soulful, deep soulful music with substance. So these are the qualities that I'm referring to when I say that to me, she's like our Erykah. That's it for now. If you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe and have the notifications switched on so you get a heads up when I drop a next one. Until then, stay blessed. Peace.